I've been campaigning on issues like air pollution, transport, roads for about 3 decades. So I've been around a bit, and I can tell that COVID places as profound a disjunction for the transport system as anything we've seen before. We've seen decreases in car traffic, as we all know, and it's not like everybody wants it to go back to where it used to be. A poll by AA of drivers says that 22% of drivers would want to drive less when they come back from lockdown, and 36% of them want to walk and cycle more. We've got profound challenges for public transport in an age of social distancing. This is a time for thinking differently and thinking in a profoundly different way about the nature of the transport system that we're seeking to have as we go forward. There's no shortage of support for change. Only 6% of people want to come back to the economy as it was before. 71% of people are concerned about air pollution and wanting to do something about that. 70% of people say that we've got to consider climate change at the same time as we come back from COVID. And if the government doesn't do that, then it is failing us. So in my view, it is time to scrap the road building programme. We should no longer be seeking to expand roads at a time when even members of the motoring lobby are accepting that putting money into broadband would be a better use of our public money. We can instead channel that money into improving cities, making cities better, allowing that the walking, cycling and other transport modes that we have could do it better than the private car. There'd be no shortage of support for it, and at a time when we have the presidency of the international climate talks, it would send an important international signal that we've got to do things differently. We do things in a low carbon way, in a different way, and not carry on as we always have before. So I put it to you, scrap the road building programme, put the money into other, better, lower carbon, healthier things.
I'm going to talk about the important role of pricing and taxation in decarbonising transport and why we need to end the freeze in fuel duty. We need a total reformulation of transport pricing. How can it be cheaper to fly from London to Edinburgh than to catch the train when emissions per passenger kilometre for air travel is 10 times that of rail travel? The failure of road taxation to cover external costs means that we overconsume our roads. The fuel duty escalator was first introduced in 1993 as an environmental tax to stem the increase in pollution and congestion from road transport. However, the public already feel that they pay too much in road taxation, and following the fuel duty protests in 2000, levying any additional charges on motorists has become politically toxic. Since 2011, fuel duty has been frozen. This means that the price of fuel at the pump has been cut by around 15% in real terms. The direct consequences of this have been 5% more traffic, an additional 5 million tonnes of CO2 emissions, 15,000 additional tonnes of NOx emissions, 250 million fewer bus journeys, and 75 million fewer rail journeys. In addition, the freeze has cost the Treasury upwards of 50 billion, more than twice what we spend every year on NHS doctors and nurses. The Chancellor really should take the opportunity of record low oil prices to increase fuel duty. The money raised from any increase should be ring-fenced to incentivise the take-up of cleaner vehicles and improve public transport. At the very least, the Chancellor should end the freeze and increase fuel duty in line with inflation. This would not only raise important revenue, but would send a clear signal to consumers and could just be the start of the transport revolution that we need.
During the present pandemic, we've seen a massive reduction in road traffic, with improved air quality and a far pleasanter environment for everybody. As we come out of a lockdown, what we're also seeing are messages saying keep off public transport and use your car. The result is increased congestion, pollution, noise, and those climate change emissions. So what's the solution? We're proposing road user charging based on payments per mile driven by any type of vehicle. Initially on the strategic road network, i.e. the motorways, and also principal urban areas, but over time can be rolled out across all roads. The charge will consist of 3 elements. The first will be a maintenance charge that every vehicle would pay to keep the upkeep of the road network. The better the quality of the network, the smoother the drive, the less emissions. The second element will be congestion charge. The higher the level of congestion, the higher the level of charge. The result again would be to smooth out journeys, reduce those stop-starts, which lead to huge increases in fuel consumption and hence greenhouse gas emissions. The third element will be an environmental charge, and that will be linked to your MOT tailpipe emissions tests. So not the vehicle manufacturer's claims, but actually what's really happening. It could also be extended to cover the noise levels produced by vehicles, and also higher charges in more environmentally sensitive areas, such as near hospitals and schools, as well as densely populated areas. By using charging, we can change dramatically people's behaviours, reducing emissions, and therefore addressing climate change.